Hey everyone, welcome to Creating with Jazzy Bundles. Today we are going to make sunburst backgrounds for our cards. Let's get crafty. My name is Jenny, and this is Creating with Jazzy Bundles, the channel where we take our simple supplies from your neighborhood craft store or favorite online retailer and turn them into one-of-a-kind pieces of art. If you like this video, hit subscribe before you leave and ring the bell to be the first to see our new videos. And with that, let's get started on today's craft. For your sunburst backgrounds, you will need the following supplies. You will need some cardstock. It can be either solid colors or pattern cardstock or pattern paper. And today we're going to use these little packs that I have gotten from Hobby Lobby. And you can get them in the scrapbooking aisle. They're around 4.5 by 6 or 6.5 inches in size. But you can see that there is a whole bunch of different sizes of patterns and colors and designs in here, and each one of them is different. And if you check frequently, there's usually at least a couple that are reduced on clearance or on sale. So I just kind of pick those up as they come along. What's nice about these smaller sets is that the designs are smaller, so it works better on your designs on your smaller cards. It's not this huge flower on this tiny little card. So you'll need some type of patterned paper or cardstock. I'm also going to try and do a different style that I haven't done before, and I took a piece of white cardstock and I used one of my embossing folders on it. So now there's this pattern of flowers on it. So I'm going to try cutting that down. And we'll cut our paper down here in just a minute, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll also need a ruler. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz clear acrylic ruler today. You'll need some cutters, and you can either use a paper trimmer, a guillotine, or some scissors. Just whatever is easiest for you. You'll definitely need, well, I won't say definitely. Whatever is easiest for you. You'll see me today use my guillotine and a pair of scissors towards the end. I find it's easier to cut off the little bits with the scissors. And you will need some glue. And today, just to show that you really can use different types of glue, we're going to make 3 different backgrounds. And one, I will use my art glitter glue, which you guys know I love this glue. On another one, we will use double-sided tape. And on our third one, I'll use a glue dot runner. So you can see how that works. You could also use, if you have it, your ATG or advanced tape glider, if you have a tape gun as well. And last but certainly not least, you will need some type of paper or cardstock, cover stock, cut down into the size of 3 by 5. Now, I cut down some of my cover stock because it's my cheaper paper. You could use printer paper or anything really that you want to. But after I cut these down, I realized what else is 3.5 by 5 is index cards. And they're nice and thick, sturdy type of material. So, and you get a whole pack for what, 50 cents or $1, I guess, if it's not around the back to school sale time maybe, but they're really cheap. So that could be another great option for you. So we'll be using those today. And with that, let's go ahead and get started on our backgrounds. So the first thing you're going to need to do is cut your paper down to size. So for that, I'm going to use my guillotine. Clear off my space here a little bit. And I've cut down most of my papers already to the size that we need, but we're going to, I haven't cut this one down. So let's trim this one up just a little bit. And all I did was cut a piece of paper, you know, about the size of a 4x6 piece. You want your end result to be at least, or to be 4 inches wide. Doesn't matter how long, but you want 4 inches wide. Because what you're going to do now is you're going to take your trimmed piece of paper that is 4 inches wide and cut 1.5 inch strips. So, well, so that you have a 4 by 1.5 inch strip. We'll do a couple more of these. And I have learned, never throw this stuff away, your pieces, because you never know when you're going to use them again. So now you're going to take your rectangles, and we have to cut them into triangles. So you just slide it up under, and you're going to line it up so that, I don't know if you can really see, but I think if this is that way, you're going to line it up so that you're cutting basically from corner to corner on the diagonal. And then you'll see we will end up with 2 triangles. Now, do not be worried if your end didn't come to a point. It's no big deal, I promise. We trim so much of this up already anyways. It is not a big deal. We'll do our last one here. For most of your cards, if you use the 3x5 background to put them on, you will need about 8, I think it is. Yeah, 8 or 9 pieces of your cardstock to go around. So it just depends on how big your background, the base is. And so for the base, since I already cut them, we will use my cover stock here. I think I said we were doing 3 cards. So for this first one, we'll do these pieces here. One of my tips came off, but that's okay. I don't think we're going to need it anyway. So now there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can butt them up right next to each other like this, or you can put a little bit of space in between them. Now this effect here is really cool if you want to put like a different color in the background. If you wanted, I don't know, yellow might be really pretty on this one, or a sky blue, and it would shine through. Or you could just do white in the background as well, especially if all of your other papers are bright colors. Like that might have been really pretty for like this one. For mine here, at least for this one especially, I'm going to butt them all right up next to each other. So first thing we're going to do is we have to draw a center line down the middle of your card. I do this in pencil. So I guess one of the other supplies you need is a pencil. I forgot to mention that earlier. Just draw a light little line just so you know where to go. If you decide to put your paper on either side of it, you'll just come back later and erase that, and it's no big deal. All right. So for this first version, let's go ahead and use our glue dot runner. I think I got this from Michael's. It was either Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I'm sure. And they come, I think I got 4 in a pack. So I like to put this one's almost empty. I like to put my glue on the paper sometimes. Sometimes I put it on the triangle. It just depends on my mood for the day, to be honest with you. But yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your little piece, line it up on your pencil line on one side with the tip right at the end, right at the bottom down here. And then we'll start on the next one. I like to do all of one side first and then come back to the other side, but whatever floats your boat. It's your card. And you measure up line up the next one rather, right up next to it, the corner or the tip lined up down here. Now, with the dot runner, I personally have found it's a little bit more difficult for me, just because I like to be able to move it around a little bit. And obviously with the glue dots, once your paper is down, it's down. It's not going anywhere. I work a little bit more careful in making sure that I'm lined up exactly next to my other piece of paper here. Now, as you go around, you're going to notice that your spot down here in the middle doesn't look all pretty and pointed and perfect. Guess what? None of these did either, and I trimmed it. So it will look, and you're most likely going to put something in the middle here, which I'll show you later. So it's going to be pretty much covered up anyways. So this one that the tip came off of is a good one to put here at the end, because it's going to get trimmed and no one will see it anyways. It just keeps wanting to rip. I think that's from it being embossed. All right, now for the other side. So I think I've hit the end. Yep, I've hit the end. Here's my other one. So I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite adhesive to use? Do you like using the glue dots? Do you like using your liquid adhesive? What is your favorite glue to use? So leave me a note down in the comments, or there should be on the side popping up a little poll. I'd love to hear from you in that poll. What adhesive do you use? It's really cool the way this turned out, because this pattern one is just paper. It's just pattern scrapbook paper, nice and thin. But the cardstock that I embossed is all bumpy, so it has a really cool texture effect to it that looks way cooler than I ever expected it to. I think there's something wrong with my glue dots. I have never had that happen before. Let's see if I can just... All right, we're at the end of that anyways. All right, I'll line this one up. And this one, which of course is going to need a little bit more glue. There we go. Not sure what happened to my dot runner there. It's kind of funny. All right, now you've got this big old craziness, and we have to trim it up. So those of you that were part or watched my washi tape video saw that one of my favorite parts of that video is to trim off the little pieces of the washi tape. This is just as satisfying. So you're just going to flip it over and trim it off. All the way around. Follow using your base paper or cardstock, whatever you chose, as a guide. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like to have or to put the glue on the paper sometimes, or on the base, I should say, instead of on your triangles, just because if sometimes it's very easy to over glue your paper, and sometimes you can end up gluing them down to your board or your base, whatever you're working on of. So just be careful of that, and I'll show you what I mean when we go to use the glue on our side. Now, I have found many ways to reuse this, so hold on to them, because you never know when you can reuse those papers there. And now this first one is done. All right, let's move on to another one. So another one that we can do is this. So I used all, sorry, let me clean this up. This one is all paper, all cardstock paper, and I just have two different ones here, two different colors. So I'm going to do the same thing. Take my line here, or my ruler and my pencil. Draw a quick line down the center. And this time we'll use our double-sided tape. So when I have done it with double-sided tape, I have found it easiest to just put the tape all along, or basically all over it, to be honest. Now again, you could totally put this all over your triangles instead if you wanted to. Whatever you found is easiest. I don't know that there's much, for me, there's not anything easier than just putting the pieces of tape on directly on this index card. It's a square rectangle, I guess, with straight edges, so it's easier for me. Okay, so now we are going to take the paper off. I recently discovered that if I use my little pokey tool, it picks it right up for me. So let's do that instead of picking at it for a long time. I got this tool at Harbor Freight in I think it was the dental set, maybe. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. But I also got a set off Amazon. But it was like a set of like 5 different sizes and designs or something. But this tool is amazing for helping to get your pieces out of die cuts and pick up the paper. Vinyl, it works great for weeding vinyl. So that is a very helpful tool if you're looking for a cheap tool, because I got a whole bunch of these for, I think it was less than $5. So excellent find there. All right, so now we're just going to take our papers and start lining it up. Now, with the glue dot, you had no room to move, and with this tape it's going to be the same way. There is zero ability to move, and it might be helpful to only put tape on one side of the base card at a time. Because my hand keeps sticking to it. But so again, this does not move around. Once it's stuck, it's stuck. All right, turn my paper, do the other side. Yep, that's stuck. That's not going anywhere. There'll be a little white spot in the corner here. That's all right. All right. Last one. All right, now it's time to trim this one up and see the magic. You could trim this on your paper trimmer or your guillotine if you want to. I just prefer to do it with scissors. You could also trim it with scissors and then give it a good sharp edge with your guillotine. Just depends on how well you're able to trim it with your scissors. Whatever makes you happy. All right, save those scraps. You never know when you'll use them. And here's this one. It's really pretty. I love teal and aqua colors. Shades of blues and greens are some of my favorite colors. So there's the ones with the glue dot and your double-sided tape. I don't use those two methods very easily, or very often rather, but I wanted you to know that it is possible. If that is all you have is some double-sided tape or the glue dot runner, 100% it is possible, and you can make beautiful cards with it. The last way I'm going to show you is by using my glue. So we have here, this one I've got 3 different colors, or 3 different papers that we'll use for this one. And just so that I can show you the other method where you leave a little bit of space, I think that's what I'm going to do on this one. So we still want to get our line down the middle so that you're making it about even space on either side. So we'll do green and yellow on either side. Now, as I said, if you put glue all over the whole thing, when you stick it down, the glue that you put up at the top is going to be on your mat here. So instead, if you put it down towards the bottom, don't worry about the top. You can always come back and add more glue later. I have found that that works a little bit better. So now you're going to figure out how big you want your space to be, and about half of that space is where you're going to put your first side down over here. Now I have found it easiest for spacing and for my mind to know how much to space on this side if I put the other one down on the other side. So let's go ahead and put it down over here. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of time to move. Now with art glitter glue, it's very little time, but I do have a little bit of time to put it down and to move it, which makes it much easier, in my opinion, to work with. I can also put the edge down and slide it, and it's not already stuck because it's on tape. So now, trying to mimic the same amount of space here, I'm going to lay this card down, or this side down, and I'll still put my point down here and just glue it down. I'm not going to worry about getting glue all the way to the very tip. I can come back later and add that in there. It's better to not get glue all over the place. There we go. So with my pattern, green is next. As you're going around, less and less of this is going to be on your base paper. So make the glue go further and further down. I'm sure here at some point I will get glue. I guess I didn't, thankfully. Okay, and yellow is next. And here is kind of, you have a little bit of a decision you can make. You can do it where you have white on either side like that, or you can put it further, bring it further down, and so it matches all the way to the bottom and you just have the white up at the top. I think for this particular one, I'm just going to have a little bit of white at the bottom as well. I think that'll be pretty. Let's see, did I get glue? Oh, I did not. All right, the next one on this side should be our pattern one. Put that down. Now, as you're laying these, you shouldn't have an issue, but just be careful because as you lay these ones that come to the corner here, sometimes if this paper isn't the right size or if it's just the right way, you'll see it. You have a chance of it not covering the full corner. So that's something to keep an eye on as you're experimenting with different size papers. You want to make sure that this edge one, or the one that goes all the way to your corner, covers the full corner, unless for some reason you line up your blank space in that corner. That would be another option. All right, so to the right of my pattern is the yellow. And a green. And I'll line it up again where we've got the spaces at the bottom. And there's that. So now we're going to trim this up. I'll put a pin back in my glue. Trim it up. And we want to erase our pencil line in the middle because we don't want that to show. So if you're going to do the one where you leave the space like this, make sure you draw a light line and don't use anything other than a pencil so that you can definitely make sure to erase it. And there we have it. A Sunburst card with the little spacing and Sunburst cards without spacing. And just like that, it didn't even take us very long. We have 3 backgrounds that we can put on our cards. Now, I'm not going to put them on cards today. I'll do another video where I show you how you can take some of the backgrounds that we've been making and put them onto cards. But just so that you know, this is going to be the wrong color to use for pretty much any of these. But I wanted to show you and give you a little reassurance that this spot here at the bottom, you can cover up. You can take a circle. This one's probably a little too big for this. You can take a circle. You could take a little sign, whatever you want. You can put flowers. I've seen people put flowers here, but you can cover this up. And with the 3x5, this is about the size that it's going to look like on your card. You can do it like this, or I've seen people do them like this and put a flower or whatever it's going to be here on the side. So there's different ways that you can do it. And I'll show you in another video how to finish up some of these cards that we have been doing lately. Okay. I hope you had fun today and learned a little bit of something new. Be sure to leave a comment below to share your favorite part of this video. Click subscribe and ring the bell to be the first to see our new videos. If you enjoyed this video about making cards, we have this whole playlist up here about making cards. And if you want to check out our videos on other crafts, check out this playlist here.